present you our next speaker. So he is doing the kind of work that not everybody can do. Not everybody can just go to a front, to a war, when you don't have to, and look just in the eyes of the enemy and take pictures, tell stories. Everybody welcome war journalist Kaj Larsen.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lieutenant Commander Kaj Larsen. I served 13 years as a SEAL officer, conducting operations around the world in the global war on terror. My grandfather was born in Poland, not very far from where the current hostilities are taking place. And when the war broke out in Ukraine, I felt compelled to raise my hand and go help Ukraine fight against Russia. I arrived on day 11 of the war, and I got back last week. So I spent over a month boots on the ground, and I'll tell you a little bit about my experience there and what I think is important, having just returned from the fight. The first thing that I'll say is it's important to remember that there are two parallel crises happening and occurring at the same time. The first is a humanitarian crisis, over 10 million refugees and internally displaced people out of their homes, and those people need extraordinary amounts of help. And the NGO community, people like yourselves, people like the organizers here, are doing an incredible job helping those people. But I'd like to remind you that this is first and foremost a military conflict. And it is a nation at war, and Ukraine needs help in the kinetic side as well. So what did I do? In the first 2 weeks of the war, I had what I called a zero truck strategy. I was taking critical supplies to the front lines, and then evacuating people out from their homes behind the Russian forward line of troops. This was extraordinarily important work, and I'll say that I have never been more proud to be an American than seeing my fellow Americans and international personnel over there, some of us who have been fighting in wars for the last 2 decades, coming back to war to help the Ukrainians. And make no mistake about it, this is a Ukrainian effort. But there's hundreds of us over there acting as force multipliers to help Ukraine win the fight. And that's an extraordinary thing, and I'm proud of everyone I saw over there. I'll tell you one small story before I go that I think is emblematic of the kind of cooperation that is helping Ukraine defeat the Russian army. On my last operation mission in theater, our unit got a call that an American citizen had been shot and needed to be casevac'd off the battlefield. He had a sniper round, a 7.62 5R, still lodged in his pelvis, and there's no air casevac or medevac in theater, so we had to get him by ground transportation safely to a hospital and then extracted across the border to Poland in order to have a surgery to remove the round. We were able to successfully and safely evacuate him out of theater and get him the surgery he needed, where he is currently recovering in a hospital in Poland. And what I'll tell you about that operation is, on that operation, we had Ukrainian military personnel, we had a Finnish Special Forces medic, we had myself, a Navy SEAL officer, we had a Polish paratrooper, and we had a French Foreign Legion soldier who had served in Mali, and finally we had a person from the British SAS, the British Special Forces, right? And I think it's going to be that kind of international cooperation that is required to help win the fight here in Ukraine and against Russia. Thank you very much. Slava Ukraini.